Each year for Clinical Trials Day, we host a session that highlights a groundbreaking clinical trial at UW with perspectives from a researcher as well as a participant to help us better understand the opportunities and challenges involved in participating in a clinical trial. Today, we're pleased to welcome our panelists, Dr. Sara McCoy and Julianne McGowan, and our moderator, Tamara Kempkin-Maring. And I want to thank you all for being here and taking the time to join us today.
So I am thrilled to introduce Dr. Sara McCoy, who will be talking about her trial, her participation in this Sjögren's trial specifically, but some of the other things that she's done and how she got here. So Dr. McCoy, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you so much for highlighting our clinical trial in Sjögren disease. It's really important, not only, I think, at the individual level, but to our disease as a whole. So I guess I'll start off by telling people what is Sjögren disease. Right? So this is an autoimmune disease. It's one of many, but this particular one attacks the glands that make tears and saliva predominantly. And that leads to very severe dry eye and dry mouth. And I think this disease in particular is hidden because most people can't imagine a lack of tears and saliva. But I think Julianne can probably do it very well. But to paint the picture a little bit, our patients' eyes are so dry they can't sleep through the night, they can't read, driving is difficult, flying is difficult because of the air, and many cannot see because of it. It can become vision threatening. And dry mouth, it's hard to imagine not being able to eat or talk, but the severity of their dry mouth causes impaired basic quality of life activities on a day-to-day basis. And I could go on about it. So these patients are very symptomatically burdened. And despite this, and the fact that it's one of our most common autoimmune diseases we see in rheumatology, there's no FDA-approved disease-modifying therapy. And when we talk about therapies to treat dry eye or dry mouth, some of our mainstay of therapies have been around since the 1800s. So there's been very little innovation in this field. So why do I contribute to clinical research? Well, I think everybody in healthcare has the same goal, which is at whatever level they can to make patients' lives better. And I'm lucky enough to hear from my patients on a daily basis. And when we hear about a gap, sometimes we want to help in whatever way we can. And I am fortunate to have a skill set both in the clinical realm where I can diagnose Sjögren's with very specific tests, but also I have a really talented group at the bench and wet lab, meaning working in actual bench science. And so it's really a privilege for me to be able to connect the two skill sets and take the bench, the things we do in the lab, and bring it to the clinic to try to help our patients. And every time my patients tell me their story, whether or not I can help, it helps me paint the picture of where we need intervention. And so this trial was to try to address one of those major gaps that I was seeing in clinic.
So Julianne, I want to hear your version of your story, specifically to start with. How did you meet Dr. McCoy?
But I received my diagnosis in 2017. And I was completely stunned with the limited number of treatment options for Sjögren's patients. And so from those early days, I found 4 things that helped because nobody knew anything. Doctors, they didn't know how to say Sjögren's, some of them. So I focused on 4 things, and that was really diet, exercise, stress, and sleep management to help me control my symptoms. But those only go so far, and I needed help. And I believe in Mr. Rogers' saying that you look for the helpers in difficult times. And so in December of 2022, I was having some difficult times with my symptoms, and I knew the 4 specialists my primary care physician were sending me to they were not going to help me. And so I turned to YouTube and I typed in Sjögren's, and up pops this UW Health Grand Rounds video titled Sjögren's Beyond the Basics. That was from December 2021, which had a young doctor who was fighting a very bad cough throughout the hour-long presentation. And that was Dr. McCoy. It took me 3 hours to get through that video because this was a doctor-to-doctor presentation, not a doctor-to-patient presentation. And so I had to stop every few minutes and write down what Dr. McCoy was saying. I had to look up the terminology to figure out how it applied to me. And I still have that notebook, which is outside of my reach right now. I wanted to show that. And I still have the notes. And in the video, Dr. McCoy mentioned mesocrymal stromal cells, the MSCs, and I had no idea what that was. And I never wrote down anything in my notebook about that, the mesocrymal stromal cells. I wrote down up until that point, and then I started after that point. So is it ironic that I'm here today? But it was about minute 43 in the video, which Dr. McCoy said, we have the Sjögren's clinic in Madison, Wisconsin. I lived 4 hours away at the time. And I immediately sent my rheumatologist a MyChart message saying, please refer me to Dr. McCoy. And within 48 hours, I had an appointment to see Dr. McCoy, 2 months later. After that first visit, that 2-hour-long visit, I was driving back to my hotel and I cried the whole entire way because I finally found my helper. And everyone here is a helper to those of us who are in difficult times. And so that is why I'm excited to share my experience with you today. For participating in the Sjögren's trial, there are 2 reasons. And the first reason is I wanted to help Dr. McCoy find treatments for myself and for others. And this trial, regardless of what the results are giving the researchers the data which can be used for future studies and future treatments. So it's not a waste of time, regardless if it works or not. It's just building blocks, to get to the next level. I also am using what's called autologous serum tears to treat my dry eye, and that's one of my symptoms. And so basically it's a customized eye drop created using my own blood serum, which promotes natural healing of my eyes. So I'm using a part of me to help heal me. And I felt very comfortable participating in this clinical trial because I'm using my own bone marrow to be injected in my salivary gland. And again, using a part of me to heal me.
Tell us about the consent process, the information that was shared, and what your maybe expectations or what you thought was going to happen when you enrolled compared to what that really was like. Because there's a lot of expectation. There's a lot that you need to do to be a part of a clinical trial. It's more than just going to the clinic every couple of weeks.
So since this was my first clinical trial, I really had very few expectations. I mean, I wanted to help myself primarily, and then secondarily is help other people, because it's really exciting to be part of a clinical trial to promote, something that many people, not just Sjögren's patients, have. I know this clinical trial is very specific to Sjögren's patients, but if it works with us, then why can't it work for other things? And so really my expectations were, when I first signed up and I kept asking the question, is it gonna hurt? I don't know about that bone marrow extraction. I think that might hurt. And so everybody's like, no, it's not going to hurt at all. And I talk to people, yes, it's going to hurt. But anyway, there's really short-term pain for long-term gain. And so my expectation was really that, what was going to hurt. And then really I knew to expect the unexpected. I was a healthcare IT project manager for 14 years, and I know what go live day looks like. And so I knew to expect something may come up, but I knew that the clinical team, they had the plans in place, and they knew that, if there were missing supplies, how to get them, missed instructions, how to get them. And we all knew that, these are minor bumps in the road. And so we just know that something may go wrong, or just something pops up that's unexpected, and we just deal with it. And so I knew that as being a healthcare IT project manager. And again, I wanted to help myself. I wanted to help the clinical team, help myself and, a greater population that suffer from dry mouth.